Well, if there's one thing you need to know about me, one of my favorite car companies out of the two favorite car companies is Lotus. Like right next to Volvo for me, but they're very different, and making Volvos in this game is peculiar. So anyway, my favorite car company besides Volvo would be Lotus, because I love their commitment to lightness despite everything else. But along with Lotuses comes a really high price tag, which is why I also like KitCars. And a lot of KitCars are Lotuses, so that makes sense. I like cars like the Ford GT40. I love KitCars. They bring an air of cheapness. But when I was young, I found the K1 Attack. And that always made me, that kicked off my love of cars, really, in wanting to design cars as a kid. And I always made doodles of cars, and they were always based on the K1 Attack. So, I'm going to make my own kit car today. And we're going to pick this body, though it is quite big and might actually cost a whole lot of money to make. We are going to try to keep this light and cheap, so fiberglass and semi-space frame with steel, because pretty much all kit cars are space frame unless they're based on another car body, which then it's not really a kit car, it's a rebodying, which I still like. We're going to go with a mid-longitude, you know what? Because it's a kit car, you're probably going to take the driveline from something else, and having the engine connected directly to a diff is not particularly great unless it's transverse. So we're going to see if we can fit something like that in there. Then we're going to go double wishbone on the front, because that suspension is easy to come by, and probably double wishbone again in the rear. You know, keep those prices down. Oh, we might be able to go push rod, but I get the feeling that might interfere with the size of the engine we could put in, so we're going to stick with double wishbone. You know what, actually? I'm not happy with how big this body is. I want to go Lotus style, which means a very small body. I use this body type a lot, but I'm going to use it once again. And having a mid-engine in something so short might cause a problem, but screw it, I'm doing it anyway. Do I still go with the the push rod in the rear? Maybe. I think we could go with push rod in the front. We'll see what we can fit in here. So we're going to go a new project. Doesn't really matter particularly what it is. We're going to start with an inline 4. Make it out of aluminium, dual overhead cam, 4 valve, and if I go rear wheel drive, this engine barely fits. So I'm thinking we might have to get rid of push rod in the rear and just go with some good old double wishbone. Well, it seems that wasn't the issue. Back to push rod. So that means if it's a light length issue, we might be able to fit a 60-degree V. Oh, it's too wide. Oh, it's too wide. Oh dear. What about a boxer? No, box is too wide. All right. Let's go. We're doing it, guys. We're going a big 3-cylinder. Kind of wish a V4 was available. That would be cool. Aluminium. No variable valve lift. Cast. We are probably going to make this turbocharged. So we're going to make this like, oh yeah, you make this kit car and you put a motorbike engine in it. So we're going to go with like a 660cc engine here. And it's going to be like when those car companies get like car tuners get things like those little mini smart cars, put a motorbike engine in it and maybe turbocharge it. That's kind of what we're going for here. Light, lots of power. This is going to get lots of high RPM. We're going to try to make this thing rev out like crazy. And then I don't know what we're going to do about compression ratio. There's probably no variable valve timing on a motorbike. I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't know. Ball bearing. And we're just going to go with performance for now. Injection. It's probably going to be multi-point. Probably not direct injection on a motorbike. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how motorbikes work. That it just goes with a log intercooler? A log exhaust straight away? Wow, interesting. And personal because it's a motorbike, and then performance, or do we want race? They look exactly the same. All right, well, race it is, I suppose. And then we're going to go with... You know, kit car people put up with so many compromises. I get the feeling that putting premium fuel in is one compromise that they'd also have to make, even though they probably don't want to. But since this is based on what I want a car that is, one, cheaper to make, but also cheaper to run. So we're going to go regular and just use a bunch of that fuel. We're gonna probably use a lot of that fuel as well, like a lot. And we're gonna raise that RPM. Hopefully we get like a massive RPM available to us. We are gonna need a catalytic converter because it's a road car, and no mufflers will probably be needed. Knocking out the wazoo. Getting close. 9:1 compression ratio. Drop that. Oh, we are not generating much power at all, guys. Let's see what we can do here. 3.5-inch exhaust? Sounds right to me. How do I get this RPM to go higher? I know what to do. Raise this up a little bit. Drop that down. There we go. More RPM, baby. Oh, that's how you get power out of the maximum. So generally when you're tuning an engine, when it's not using this equation, this part of the equation here, there we go. 660 cc's. There we go. Much higher rev range as well now, which is rather nice to have. Yeah, we're going to leave this at a 3-inch exhaust. You know, want it to be reasonable on this 3-cylinder engine. That is a ginormous exhaust, by the way, if nobody knows what 3 inches. 3 inches kind of like the basic bitch tuner bolt-on power level. It's, yeah. Let's see what it sounds like. Oh, that sounds exactly like what I wanted. Oh boy, that's what I want. It is totally what I want. Alright, let's move on. So, body type. We can go with this or this. Oh, hell no. So that is a convertible, right? Oh, it's a hard-top convertible. Or we can go soft-top convertible, which is very common amongst kit cars. Take a look at things like the regular Lotus 7 kit cars, which you see so often. But I think we're going to go hard top. Also the K1 attack as well. So we're going to go super wide body. Yeah! Bring out that front just a little bit. Make the cabin a little bit bigger. Slope that front end because it is mid-engine. Bring that forward a little bit so you get a little bit more room around the engine. Not sure where we want that, but not there. Now, do we want to make the... Oh, wow, we can... That's weird. I don't like that. We can make that a little bit bulbous, which will give you room to maybe do some sort of engine cooling under here that works in some sort of functional way. It also does away with those there, which we want to cover up. Good. And just a vertical splitter like that. Oh, yeah. The most important change of them all. Can't go without that. Now, the important part. What do kit cars usually make their colors? There's a lot of gray I see, a lot of red. Oh, the Lancia Stratos. Oh, I really want that. There's some blue, some black, some white. I'm not sure what color to make it. We're gonna go with white for now. Very, very kind of basic kit car-y kind of color. This will be generally what your kit car will come as a color anyway, since the way the fiberglass is made, it's generally got a white finish to it. Now, we're not going to do all the beautification right now, but we are going to put some downfalls on here so we can at least do the basic calculations. And it is going to have a riser spoiler, because what kind of kit car wouldn't have a ginormously oversized spoiler on it? Well, it's already chosen rear-wheel drive for us. We're going to go with a manual, because that is cheaper and easier. And we're going to go with a 5-speed, because that would be really easy to get a hold of for a transaxle style east-west transverse mounting like that. We're probably not actually going to go that fast. What was I thinking? All right, 250-ish will probably be where that sits. Then we're going to go with... I don't know. Probably a regular viscous LSD. I don't know what sort of transverse axle you go with. You might go with a Volkswagen that would have an electronic LSD. Let's go with that. All right, so that's what we got here. Going to go radial. We're going to go sports compound. Oh, but it is a kit car, so you're probably going to go semi-slicks. We're not going to do that, though. We're going to bring them out, then we're going to widen out those wheels, make them fill up those beautiful wheel arches. Aluminium wheels. Vented disc, 1 piston. Vented disc, probably also 1 piston. We'll just do some balancing to give more to the rear. We'll see how that goes in a second. Then, yes, we're going to have full downforce. We're going to have like a 12-degree or less rake, or maybe it's like a 7-degree rake, I think, underneath. So that sort of stuff. Oh, sorry about that. That sort of raking underneath. So that should be easy to do with a space frame. There's nothing really particularly that's getting in the way that we can't deal with ourselves. No active wing, no active cooling. We're going to have a little bit of brake cooling, and then rear and front wing angles are going to be at maximum. We are going to keep it 2 seats. They are going to be sports seats. There's going to be no entertainment for my sports car. This is going to be kind of like a semi-time attack car, but also like a beautiful cruiser. No power steering because ABS, we're not going to go full tech and get like something like traction control. La-dee-da. I suppose you could probably set it up with something like a high-end Mega Squirt, but I'm not going to bother with that. Then safety. That's a tricky one. We're going to go basic noughts, so we can put in something like an airbag. That should be really simple, that you could set up yourself if you really wanted to, or maybe like some padding on the roll cage. Basic, and that's as far as I go. You know what, we'll drop that down for good measure. Then we're going to go standard, though progressive would be really good for sports. Unfortunately, it says progressive is not sporty. Then we're going to go with twin tube and passive, because they're cheap and easy to do. And why would I not slam it to the ground? Obviously, this thing has to be slammed to the ground. It has to be as low as possible. Why does it look like the front wheel fills out a lot better than the rear wheel? Come on, game. Be better than that. This game really needs the ability to put bigger wheels on the rear compared to the front, or vice versa if you're doing something else. So we already start off with a basically finished car. I love it. And there we go. A top speed of 251. We're going to keep the top speed at the end of the rev range, then we can reach there, but also still have a lot of acceleration. Only 7 seconds? Oh, we got to do better than that, guys. We can shorten that down to get more speed out of our vehicle. There we go. 5.9. We can shorten that up even a little bit more. There we go. 5 seconds. 5. Let me try that again. 5.7 seconds. We might put on ever so slightly bigger tires to help deal with that extra wheel spin we're just getting. And we're going to induce a little bit of understeer at the least. Like, this isn't really understeer, but we're going to induce that. And I love it. Okay, our brakes are ginormously too big. Oh dear. I don't know if there's a whole lot we can do here. We might just have to run ginormous brakes. That's unfortunate. We have ABS, so ABS will help us with that. Alright, we have very little downforce in the front and a lot of downforce in the rear. Sounds about right, but we are going to try to fix that. So with fixtures, I think is now time to beautify. Introducing you to my KitCar. What did I call it again? I can't remember what I called it. Oh, I didn't even name it. Hold on. Let me look at it for inspiration. So this is going to be the... So there's like a K1 Attack, the Lotus 7, Caterham. We're going to use a business name which I've always wanted to use, which is PCP, which is my initials and then productions at the end. So we're going to call this the PCP P1. There we go. We're going to put a little bit of a badge on here and then we're going to move on. What will this do on the test track? Come on, you can do it. 214. Not terrible. Was hoping for better, but then again, I suppose this thing is actually quite slow. You know what I never did? I never put more aerodynamics on the rear, and I also have to change these wheel arches just a smidge. I'm going to switch that back to a viscous LSD, because I don't actually know what a geared LSD is. We could go bigger tires. We really could. There we go. Bigger tires it is. Ooh, we're going to hide a wing as a tow hook. Now, normally they'd be red, but I can't get red onto this car without changing the paint color, so that's going to have to stay the way it is. And there we go. We have a tow hitch, but that does give us more downforce. There we go. Lots of downforce, baby. We just have to balance it out a little bit so then we don't get this oversteer when we start going really fast. So I'm guessing we're going to be going probably about 200 by the time we get to the back straight. Let's check that out. Let's see what we do. It reckons down the back straight we will be doing about 220 almost. So 220 is way up here when it starts to oversteer. So let's bring that back to make sure that doesn't... There we go, cool. So after that we start to understeer. So that gave us 221. That is a particularly slow time, but I did want to have that extra control. 214.58. Okay, well our lap time hasn't changed at all, but at least this vehicle should now be more controllable. You know what I haven't done? I haven't done the Top Gear test. It reckons a 221. Wow, this car is actually really slow. That's disappointing. All right, let's go. Let's take this over to BeamNG. Where better to bring our brand spanking new, absolutely ballistic sports car? Well, the spiritual homeworld of cars. Italy, baby. Oh boy, this thing is slow off the line. I probably should have made that gear just a smidgen bit shorter, maybe chucked another gear in there. But wow, this thing does pretty well. Oh. Damn, that downforce, bro. Where's the downforce? You meant to, like, help me turn into corners. Well, that's disappointing. Other than that, this car is still understeery. Wow, it's very understeery. Why did I put all that downforce on if the thing won't turn? The heck? Do I need more front downforce? Or is that downforce just not translated into the game when it did the export? Because I know that the game gets very janky when it comes to exporting aero on vehicles. Though, despite what people say, there is actually an effect of putting front splitters on cars. I've looked over the files, I don't entirely understand how they work, but there is actually a difference between a car that has a little bit of aero on the front and a vehicle that has a lot of aero at the front when it comes to just splitters alone. Maybe if I made the front wheels just a little bit bigger, we'll get a vehicle that turns a lot sharper and a lot nicer. Because as it stands, I'm a little disappointed here in me supercar. Oh dear. Well, we get to look at the undercarriage of this beastly little car. We're gonna change the tires up ever so slightly, and then we'll be back. Right, it's test lap time. Let's go. Ooh, that is a weird sound. What on earth? Okay, well, I think I could save some time off the line with that, with taking control of the gearbox. But aside from that, I think we're doing fairly fine so far. So the steering feels a little bit more connected to the ground. You'd think that it would get more aerodynamics on the front the faster we go, but it apparently didn't like that. And I think doing something to the tires has also made that engine just sound a little bit weird and kooky. Okay, so we're doing fairly well. It's got a decent amount of traction. Could do with more downforce. Downforce. I'm not entirely sure how one would go about improving this, but I will put up the car file and allow you guys to fiddle with it and have a little bit of fun, modify it, come back to me with the same sort of basic car, just tuned better to get a better lap time. And I might come back and try them out at some point in another video in the future. Okay, here we go. We're going to about 200, not the 220 that is suggested. Wow, that was on rails. Why is it stuck at 208? What's going on here? Is there... Wait, why did it stop at 208? What was up with that? Oh, look at that. I was able to keep the accelerator on a fair chunk there during that corner. Nice. I have to figure out why it stopped at 208 though. It really should have gone a lot faster than that. Oh, amazing brakes too. Like, I braked super late and I still had plenty of room to go. I really like this car. It could do with a little less understeer. I'm not quite sure how to really get that tweaked exactamundo right, but we're doing pretty well. I would love if this thing just had infinite traction. That would be fantastic. You know what I am proud of though? Is the fact that on my first attempt, I was able to make a car that had a very, very short wheelbase and was able to hand better than the Renault Clio V6, which when they first released that, apparently that car had death trap levels of oversteer. Just snap, just oversteer and done. Well, we didn't do a fantastic time, but I really did enjoy this. This was a fun little car. There are some little tweaks I could do, but I think it's pretty darn good. Let's go change configuration and try a different part of the track. We're going to aim... Where we're going to put this? We're probably going to put this... We're going to hope to do better than a 135, which is kind of around the time which I did for a car which was meant to be similar to this one, but the video got lost and now I'm just finally getting around to re-recording it. And apparently there's a huge disparity. I think that was just come down to skill. And then whatever that car is that I made, that is not a particularly pretty car. And then we've just got that really handling beast that's that one. I don't think I'll be as fast as that one, but we'll give it a try. Not to say it's the best car I have. Oh, sorry. It is the best car I have. Not to say it's the best car I could make. It was just a bit of an experiment on handling with low center of gravities with the boxer-type engines, and then the lightness of a very small engine. But I get the feeling I could have made it better if I'd chosen a smaller body. Say like this one. I think it could work really well. I think to knock off a good second for this lap time, I should go back and do this with manually controlling the gearbox, because this gearbox sucks. It is not a good gearbox. See? Look at that. The gearbox just keeps changing. Stop changing gears and stick with it. You know what? We're going to call this lap a bus, and we're going to retry, but in manual form. Realistic behavior. Okay, good. Away we go. It's really hard to tell when it stops the wheel spinning. Wait, what? Why did it change up a gear on this? Okay, you know what? We'll get there, guys. Don't worry about it. So we're going to wait for a little bit of backfire. There we go. Okay, that was a little bit slow on my end, but we're doing pretty well still. This car likes second gear. It's just kind of like the right length for this course. It's really hard to tell when to change gears right now, because if I have the game louder, it'll interfere with the recording. So I have to keep it quite quiet, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a struggle to get these gear changes correct, because I am so loud in my own head. Do not buy Sennheiser headsets. Despite what people say, they're like, oh, it's the best headset ever. It really is not a particularly good headset. Come on. Oh, we were doing so well, guys. There's that snap oversteer. That's unfortunate. Let's try again. I am determined to do this right. I don't like that it bounces my car every time I respawn, though. That makes me concerned that it might do damage, but I get the feeling they may have damage turned off for the initial spawn area, because that would seem unfair to spawn a car in and damage it straight away. I get the feeling that they know about that glitch, because that's a pretty big one. You know what this needs? It's something like a Project Cars split differentiator thingy that it shows up on the screen, which It shows you instantly like how far ahead or behind you are. Now we didn't change up a gear at that little section there because that could have taken more time to change gears than just to stay in the gear. And staying in gear too long is actually a racing strategy. Not one that I've implemented because my racing isn't a very long list of races that I've taken part of. I've only done minor go-karts and a little bit of track day stuff, but not since I was a teenager, really. I think the last time I did anything would have been karting in probably 2011. Oh, look at that. We did a 130 straight off. Nice. That's a really good time. That did better than almost all of them, except for the one that I said that wouldn't do better than. The Randall Frankist. Oh, that's right. I gave them that name. This is actually a really good car. I like it. I really do. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check the link in the description for a download link to a Google Drive. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.